Microsoft networking is concerned, he's also the Microsoft certified trainer. He worked in the World Bank, African Development Bank, as network engineer. Germany, he worked as a telecom consultant in Germany, and Saudi Arabia as IT advisor. In current, he used to work in Ghana National Development Planning Commission, head office as an IT specialist. He's won so many awards: 2007 District Best Oil Palm Farmer, 2008 overall National Oil Palm Best Farmer, 2012 UN Global Compact Award winner, 2013 Regional Overall Farmer. It's long. And recently, 2020, Outstanding Social Enterprise of the Year. He established the first ICT Center for Agriculture Farmers in Ghana in 2012 and has trained over 15,000 farmers and students ever since then. He has 14-acre agroforestry climate smart agriculture center and 15 acres ecological and biodiversity center for creating awareness and training of farmers and students alike. He currently has a company called BOVID, standing for Building Business on Values, Integrity, Dignity, Integrity in the Western region of Ghana. Folks, I present to you our own brother, Isa Idrago. That's the speaker number one. Speaker number two, attended school in St. Augustine Secondary School in Bogoso and successful education in Koforidua Ghana Secondary School. He lived in the UK for some time and then moved to US in the 80s. He obtained his bachelor's in science pharmacy at the Medical University of South Carolina in the USA. He went back to school in Florida and obtained his doctorate in pharmacy degree in 2003. He's the president and founder of Concerned Africans and Friends Association, and with headquarters in Florida. He's a philanthropist as well. Gentlemen, your second speaker is Dr. Kwame Boakye-Fosu. So at this point, we invite our first speaker to take the floor, and he has 20 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, guys. Thank you also for giving me the opportunity to talk to you guys on agriculture. Like most of you, agriculture is not my background. I think I'm in the same age group like most of you, whereby in those days in secondary school, you do all subjects, and agriculture is one. So from Form 1 to Form 3, the only agriculture I learned was in secondary school from Form 1 to Form 3. So agriculture never was one of my subjects. By growing up and as life takes its path, I became the lead program or lead what they call it, teacher or trainer of the UNICEF, what they call the Millennium Development Goals, a project that is called DevInfo, and that was being used to monitor the progress of the Millennium Development Goals in Africa, and I happen to be the lead trainer in Africa. So moving around and listen to what people do and train them about the Millennium Development Goals, it became very clear. I mean, I've always been aware of what you haven't studied outside, and lived outside like most of you. You always hear, oh, Africa has everything, Africa has everything. When you hear that actually from your white colleagues and you don't know what to say, Africa has everything, you're yet begging, it makes you feel sad or sick all the time. So that has been behind my mind. And so as a lead trainer traveling in Africa and around the world, it became very, very clear to me that in fact, we could do a lot with Africa. I mean, in Bonn, where I lived, they've built a museum, a chocolate museum in Bonn, and it's along the Rhine. And if any country deserves a museum in cocoa, should either be Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana, or maybe a country in Central America, but not in Germany. Brazil. I think all of you will agree with me on that. But they have a chocolate museum in Germany. So you begin to ask yourself what is happening. And these are some of the issues that really push me to do what I'm doing right now. we all know that agriculture is Ghana's most important economic sector, employs more than half the population on formal and informal basis, and accounting for almost half of our GDP and export earnings. So we can conclude, or comfortably conclude, that it is one of the main sources of our national income. Although Kwame Nkrumah attempted to use agriculture as a springboard for countries' overall economic development, Ghanaian agricultural output has consistently fallen since 1960s. And the agriculture sector in Ghana is well established, don't make the mistake, and provides formal and informal employment. But the issue is it has been politicized, and as a colleague said, it has become more, it's not only corrupt, but politicized, and it makes you again sick to see a country that has a potential to use agriculture to be part of the developed countries falling back and its citizens suffering. So these are some of the issues. I used to attend a lot of conferences as a leading, I was on this agriculture program, not as an agriculture specialist, but I was on it because we were using a system to monitor progress on the Millennium Development Goals. And when you go to a conference on the Millennium Development Goals and you hear people talking about agriculture, poverty alleviation and all that, some of the key words that dictate every agriculture debate is sustainable economic development, poverty reduction, job creation, wealth creation, gender and agriculture, food security, climate change, climate smart agriculture, environmental impact, shared value, inclusive economic development, agriculture and good governance, youth and women empowerment, which is all very good. And you know that Ghana, when it's about all, Ghana is well positioned to use agriculture to advance its cause. So the issue from the global perspective, all the above mentioned, as I've just said, issues are true. No mistake about that. The fact is also most solutions available are not directly leading to the solutions that the people are talking about. So, and me as Issa, when I sit under all these programs, I always listen to that and relate it to Ghana. How does it really affect Ghana? But you see, the absolute truth is that agriculture is the future. That one we all know. If I were to go through that, I'll talk more and more about. But how do we prepare ourselves to tap into the global opportunity? That is the issue now we have. How do we there's a noise, there's something going on.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So that is from the global perspective. And from an African perspective, we know that if the agriculture is the future, and we know that 65% of our population, which cut across Africa though, are farmers. So we have the land, we have the youth, we have the population. So what is driving us out? What is preventing us to achieve those objectives if the future of, the future is agriculture? Looking at Brexit right now, I read not too long ago that the Prime Minister is trying to seek private contract with most African countries for supply of food because of their situation. So again, another evidence or another fact that shows that agriculture is a potential for Africans and especially for Ghana. Why can't we use this opportunity using IT to achieve this objective? If we are to tap the opportunities provided by the current agile and dynamic enterprising, youth and emerging massive global need for health food, build capacity and promote entrepreneurship among the youth and reduce migration to towns, create and expand rural opportunities. This is what we need to think about. So for me, I was confronted with all this and I decided to stop my job. I mean, I was very lucky, let's put it this way, which is not, with all these things, I happened to be transferred to Ghana because after Saudi Arabia, I went to Germany and I was transferred to come to Ghana without them knowing that they're sending me back home to come and head IT section of National Development Planning Commission. So in Cree, you will say what the Banchard and Abo Ngumo, what do you call it? Who is a Cree man here?
I am.
How do you say it?
Or the Banchabo Ngum, yes, you are right.
Yes, exactly. So I decided, and it was a 2-year contract. So a 2-year contract renewable for 3 times. So when I came and I know that I have to set an example, of course, an IT consultant at the international, it wasn't too much, but looking at my background, like as an orphan and the village I grew up, earning $11,000 a month wasn't a small money for me. I know it's an average in Europe and it's even maybe one of the middle class earning. But for me, looking at my background, was a lot of money that I decided to do to showcase that there's something we can do. May not be the best, so to say, the best model, but something different from the failing ones, and especially in Ghana. That's why I decided to do what I'm doing right now. But now coming to Ghana, is this an opportunity, using agriculture as an opportunity to advance our cause? There are many, many things we can do. Many, many things we can do. I see that's more. Somebody, hello?
Yes.
I see. Okay, are we here? Are you okay?
Yes, yeah, we are here. That's right.
Please, if you are not speaking, mute your mic. Everybody, please.
So the issue we have, I turn direct to the topic of the day, is that we have all that it takes. Let me cut it so simple so that maybe I don't take too much. We have what it takes. So if you have what it takes, and about 3 weeks ago, I was on one of the famous radio stations in Takoradi here, and I was making an example of where the radio station is to Efiekuma. It's about half a kilometer. And the question was, if I have a bicycle, if I can walk to that place, I have a motorbike, I have a car, and for 3 hours or for 2 days or 3 weeks. Hello?
Go ahead, please.
If I have all this in front of me and I still want to be in Efiekuma, which is half a kilometer, and I'm still not getting there, then there must be something extremely wrong. There must be something terribly wrong that goes beyond explanation. So there must be something wrong with our system why we are not getting where we should go with agriculture. And one of the things, in fact, you can't deny is corruption and policies that has been, has been politicized again. Again, National Development Planning Commission, where I was there for 6 years, would have been a perfect tool to be used to develop a super policy. Of course they do, but how is it done? They do it by political affirmation or whatever you call it, because whenever there's a new political party in power, all the plans that was done for 10 years, 20 years will be put aside and led by another political group to achieve the objectives. That is a wrong thing to do. We need non-partisan policy for the country for between 10 to 15 or 20 years, that every political party will be held responsible for that role that needs to be played whenever they are in power. Whether it is money, whether it is a system, whether it is workers, I think this ought to be done so that we don't miss our objectives. If we have all what it takes to achieve what we need to, or to even tap into global market, why are we not there? Every year since I came to this country through 2004, and since 2004, I think this country has imported more than 8,000 tractors in the name of the poor farmer. Go out there and find out how many farmers have those tractors. These tractors ends up in the hands of only God knows who don't even need them, either for political activities. And to be very honest with you, if I don't intend to do farming, I don't intend to do breed business, and just for being a political activist, you come and give me a tractor, I won't know what to do with it. It's a human nature. I'll sell it. And that's what is happening, partly. So we have imported, depending on whichever party is in power, tractors all the time in the name of the poor farmer. Where are they? Where are they? So there is no mechanism to monitor whatever they say they want to do. They come up with super ideas, planting for food, export and all that, could force presidential initiative, super idea. Well, how did it end? If that policy has been implemented, we would have been somewhere. I mean, again, I was on the radio, that's about 2 years ago, and I said, if I were a Ghanaian, if you tap, you will see it. If I were a politician, I would never ever go to a radio and mention that Malaysians came and picked oil palm from Ghana and they've advanced, because it's embarrassment, it's an insult. You know, the following day they said, Issa Ouedraogo says politicians are embarrassing Ghanaians. That is actually the title. But if you read, you see that that's not what I said. I said, well, if I were a politician, I would never ever go to a radio station or in anywhere and stand and say that Malaysians came and picked palm oil from here and now they are leading. That is not what I said. But I said it's an embarrassing and insult to, as a politician, to say that. What did we do wrong that they are advancers? So this is an example. So for me to advance our cause, what I'll leave it short and wait for questions. All we need is a policy that binds all political parties, a policy for 20, 30 years. Moving forward, of course, we can change as human beings based on what the world situation is or the current situation is, but particular activities has to or must be done irrespective of which political party is in power. That would be a good step moving forward. And then from that level, we know what kind of systems are we putting in place and to monitor, to train and to monitor and make sure that things are consistently done the way we've planned to do it. I think that will help us move forward.
Great. Are you done initially? Are you done?
Well, yes, I'll leave it here and wait for questions because I think I've already gone beyond 20 minutes, if not 90 minutes.
No, you haven't.
Oh,
you
okay.
have 7 minutes. You have 7 minutes more.
Oh, okay, okay. So, in moving forward, as I said, right now, there is something we call reverse market entry. This reverse market entry, the Europeans are now looking for. Most of the Europeans come here in the form of donating money to us, but they are actually looking for ways to see how they can tap into our lands and then how they can produce food for themselves. Unfortunately, it is still not clear to us. The Europeans and the Americans are saying that the farmer will be the richest person in the future. They can actually afford to buy Lamborghinis and all that. All these things are being said on every day, but it seems like it's not very clear to us as Africans. Even in the Gulf State, when I mean in the Gulf State, the Arabs are penetrating in buying lands in Africa, including Ghana. If that is the case, if these people are so much interested in our lands because of their future food supply, why don't we take monies from them and prepare and supply them, which will be a basic human intelligence thing to do. If you need, we've been buying oil from them, we're buying things we don't have. If they need anything we can supply, they should fund it, they should support it. We should look for, even if they will not fund it, we should be able to use that and get money to do them and sell to them. So we're talking about reverse market entry. This is what is happening. Europeans are trying, instead of dumping their food and some of their things in Africa, that they are looking for a way to import our food, or if possible, buy our lands, produce food for themselves. Why are we sitting down to look for this to happen? So look at the jobs involved. Look at the factories we can create. Look at the value we can add, how we can improve look at our kids suffering in the Mediterranean Sea. With IT, you can so behave like anybody working in a bank. You can farm and live happily, joyfully like any other person. We all know that. Maybe farming and all that has become unattractive in Europe because whatever it is. But in Africa, it is the beginning, which we should be able to make it so attractive for ourselves and for our children, because we have all that it takes. It's really sad and sickening to sit down again to see people coming to buy huge lands for food production and employing our people for nothing, and then you would say, oh, they are doing corporate social corporate responsibility. During those days, our forefathers, when they are going to the toilet, they say, I'm going to Mfichiru, that is behind the house. I'm going to the Mfichiru. I mean, will Kwame say Mfichiru in English for me? Kwame, what is Mfichiru?
Oh, backyard.
Backyard. Now, when these corporate bodies come and they build something for us, they build toilet on the roadside, and so they've done their corporate social responsibility. Is that all we need?
Yeah, that's true.
Is that all we need? So, I'm just giving you, these things points to know that we can do better. They say in Chi that we've lost a lot, but we still can do a lot to change the situation to our advantage.
Thank you, brother. Your camera is not showing. We can see your beautiful face. So if you can work on that, that would be great. Yeah. So before the second speaker comes, I think we can ask some few questions before we forget about what we forget about what he just narrated. Actually, I have the privilege of asking the first question, but I'm lucky me. But he's already answered the question that I had here. And so I have to be controversial a little bit, and I'm going to mention GMO.
Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So what do you think about GMO being introduced to Ghana?
It's very unfortunate for me to say that because unfortunately it was being led actually by our Minister of Agriculture.
Yes.
I don't know why he's doing that. I used to be in the same program with him when he was a parliamentarian on the ranking member of Agric in Parliament. Mm-hmm. And I saw how this guy was proactive on how things should be done, and even the tree crop board should be created. And since he became a minister, it's like a different ballgame anyway. GM personally, well, if you look into my website, I'm more into organic. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in the other way of doing things. But I don't think also the GM is the right thing for us at this particular point.
Thank you very much.
Some time ago, even the Americans had to boycott something from France because one of the ministers came up boldly to deny and to say, no, they are not going to go to GM. So if such a developed country says that, why are we rushing for GM? And many donors are indirectly fighting hard to introduce GM. And I'm like, what is behind? What is their beef? Why are they rushing to force us to use GM? That's a big question probably we all have to answer.
Great. Thank you, brother. So at this point, I would invite people to ask questions. You can just, sense from his presentation that he's well endowed in agriculture, and it's a bread basket there. So please let us ask, very important, questions that. So, Brother Gilbert, your hand is up. If you can go ahead with your question, Brother Gilbert Lawson.
Yeah, thanks for that. With my little knowledge, I don't have an extensive knowledge. But from what you said and with everything that you've listed in terms of the corruption aspect of things with the politicians and the unfavorable systems that we have in place, and the lack of the checks and balances to make sure all these equipment that are being bought in the name of the farmers gets to the farmers. My main question will be, personally, I think we have an issue with the mindset of our small farmers because we tend to stick to what we know and keep doing the old system of farming. In that sense, how do you think we can help the small farmers to help themselves in the sense that they would be looking more into the mechanical side of farming than the labor-intensive system of farming?
Should I answer direct or get a couple of questions before?
Yeah, one more question, please. Who again?
Okay, I have one.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Brother Issa, thank you for your presentation. I wanted to know the extent to which you are training people. So I think it's related to the last question. And if
Exactly.
so,
I think so too.
yes, if so, how many graduates do you have a year, and what can you tell us about what they have achieved from your training program in terms of yield and progress in agriculture? Thank you.
Okay,
Any
thank
more?
you, brother.
Yeah, one more, Victor Nunu.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, I picked up on the reverse market entry, which actually got me a little bit twisted, because as you explained, if we can do that ourselves, if we can cultivate the land ourselves and sell the goods to the foreign agencies who wants to buy the lands, why should we actually sell the lands to them, and then they will come and then use the land for their own benefit and employ our people and pay them pittance. It's all about involvement of the government. It's how can we force our governments to see exactly what is happening, and that it doesn't benefit the Ghanaian. Forget about the money that will come in for the sales of the land. But how can we get our government to get involved in actually buying the lands, and then, as Nkrumah did in the 60s for the Workers' Brigade, we farm the land ourselves and then sell the produce to the foreign instead of selling the lands to the foreign, and they coming to enslave us on the same land that we own.
Yes, that's a beautiful question.
So there's tied to that. There's a question in chart. There's a question about.
Can I take that? Can I take that three? Otherwise,
Hold on, please. Brother Dan first, please.
Yes, I was just saying there was a question that came up in chat from Brother Pratt Byrne. He's asking about the participation of farmers in the governance of the sector, and that might tie into the previous one. It came up in chat, so I want to get that onto the floor.
Great, thanks. So, Brother Issa, up to you now.
Okay, thank you guys for the questions. For the first one, regarding the mindset of farmers, I personally, in so doing, I came up with a model, and that is actually the model that gave me the UN award, the Global Compact Award. So for me, I wanted to demonstrate everything that I'm saying. As I said initially, it might not be the best, but at least something different from the failing systems. So this model is what I call, my definition for sustainable agriculture, because when you go to meetings international, and I have attended a lot of meetings, without wanting to sound like bragging, through the job and my private, I've traveled 67% of this of the world. So, and most of the places I went wasn't only, for enjoyment, but I asked myself, what is God given here and what is man-made? So I don't always differentiate these things. What is God given here and what is man-made? Though I enjoyed what's man-made there, and I was always thinking of Ghana. So is it something we couldn't do? Don't we have it? And so I came up with this model and said, look, the sustainable agriculture should have something that deals with environment, climate change, food security, sustainable, and poverty alleviation. In so doing, what is missing? The IT, we want increase of products, we want good food, we want to use modern technology, we want to increase our income, and we want to do economic of scale. How do we achieve that? So our people need to understand that. And how do they? So I created an ICT center where I can train at one particular point 40 people. I have the alternative livelihood where I have pigs, guinea fowls, chicken, fowls, cattle, fish ponds, to demonstrate that if you either have cocoa farming, cocoa, oil palm, or coconut, you can do one or two of these. Currently, I have 3,000 farmers and these 3,000 farmers who are doing oil palm as a main. If we are able to get 500 of them doing an additional for all this, like pigs or cattle or fish ponds, you have indirectly created 3 or 4 value chains of oil palm farmers. Indirectly. So the ICT Center, to educate people, it had different objectives. If you go to some of these markets and you see these Chinese people dumping some of their medicine, not that I'm against that, but that's a different topic, how people will buy, vitamin C thing and all that. So again, to educate the farmers to understand what they have within the backyard and find what they can do. So I created what we call God's Pharmacy. God's Pharmacy, to educate farmers to understand what they can produce and eat and live healthy and happily. That was one. Two, as we said, I'm driving at your mindset. So we need to change. I've always told Talu and most of the people who came to me to do training for the farmers is that if you set up 10 cities right now to do a particular program, use about 30% of it to change the mindset of the people. Transformational change. Mm-hmm. And transformational change to me right now, as I talk to you, should be about 30% of your budget for anything you want to do on agriculture. Our people have been so entrenched in freebies. You see, it doesn't matter. Even the government doesn't monitor what NGOs come to do. They have their free hands, they do whatever they want. This is where government has to monitor and manage. So, and if you think of farmers, some of the NGOs will come, we are coming to this, we want to do market this, we want to do sustainable agriculture, we want to trade for a value. You can't pick any one of it and do it for so long. It needs the complete circle has to be closed, where everybody knows what they play. In Europe and in America, whatever, farmers have their ranch, and at the end of the day, they have their magazines dropped in their mailbox, and they will know what is going on. We don't have that. And if you have a 63% of your population being raw farmers and they are key to your development, that is where you should paint. That's where your money should go. Mm-hmm. We need to educate our farmers to be productive and to be, well used. I mean, I hate using the word use. I mean, using them. They have to be very productive and understand. So the mindset is a key for us, so that we don't allow NGOs to come and give something, and then 1 week and this, and they will put on their kente and the best go to a hotel, talk about something, and they give them, take away fried rice, which is again not the best, and then they fill, and then one Coca-Cola, and that is it. For God's sake, we don't need that. So the mindset of telling them it should be a hard way. We cannot cut it completely, not giving them something, but we should also gradually get them to understand that the freebies is not always the best for them. That is on the mindset. And I'm doing that by example. So you won't believe it. We've had the former American ambassador, I've had the Israeli ambassador, I've had a Dutch ambassador, I've had ministers from all both parties visiting my area to see. And the question is, if our own ministers know this is good, this is not good, why are we not doing it? Imagine you have my center in every district, my kind of center in every district. Then you start making the change that we ought to change. So that is for the first one. The second one, with the graduates, yes. Talking about training of the graduates, right now I have a program with the Germans. We do what the Germans call it Rückkehrer. The Rückkehrer program is also another program of the Germans. Whether it is positive or negative, I cannot tell. It's one of the programs that they call it the European Marshall program, that they are trying to support the educated people in Europe or in Germany back home by helping the process. Mm-hmm. So if you take them back, they can give you a salary support for 2 years. So these guys will find, their foot back in their own countries. It's happening. So these kind of guys have, for now, but within the last 5 years, how about 12 of them? They go through me and eventually they get better job or get a job that they want and they move. So the training goes beyond our elementary farmers, schools, and then also even graduates.
Great.
Talking about the government's involvement, and that is another place you will cry. Me growing up, I grew up on a farm. My father was a driver in one of the Kwame Nkrumah's farms, Ghana State Farm Corporation. Now it's called NOPAM, Norwegian something. If you see Kwame Nkrumah's land that Kwame Nkrumah took, whether it was cocoa, whether it was rubber, whether it was oil palm, has been sold cheaply to foreign companies, and come and see what they are doing. Now, many of them are in courts because some of these villages are trying to recover some of their land because of expansion of their communities and all that. But they are fighting to get back their own land from these private companies. It also has its legal implication. But the fact is, we are no more benefiting from what Kwame Nkrumah thought would have been the best for us. And something you will cry if you're my age group and you see the ideas behind, which was valid today, would have been more valid today for us to, to have what we need to have. This government's involvement, what is the same government that sold this land, Kwame Nkrumah's land or properties to foreign companies? So what can I say about that? These huge lands are now in foreign companies and they are doing what they want. Can we get them back? I don't know. But that's another topic for itself, for another time.
Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Can we take just one more question before we move to the second speaker, please? Whose hand is up?
Kwame.
Kwame, okay, go ahead.
Excellent presentation, but mine is not a question, but it's in the form of suggestion for us to think about. Some of these discussions or debates, if we can try and put them as a policy document, a policy paper that in future can be circulated, we can all hold on to them. That would be appropriate, please. That's my suggestion, please.
I think that's a good idea.
That is the precise purpose of this series as we are moving forward from topic to topic. Thank you.
My hand is up.
Okay, go ahead.
My hand is...
Go ahead, yeah.
Hello.
Please.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Go ahead, Henry.
Yeah, this is Henry. It is a very nice program. I congratulate the initiators of this program on Zoom. If you talk about agriculture, I believe we really need policy that will take us to, consistently for about 30 years before we can get to where we are. Since the promulgation of the 1992 Constitution, you can see parties have won and lost elections, and the policy has swung from one end to the other. So to be able to get there, it takes more than just a government taking a policy. This policy can be reversed when that government loses power and then its power is transferred to another government with a different philosophy or ideology. To get to where we are, that the land becomes ours and then we can really benefit from the land, there should be land reforms. The last speaker was talking about Kwame Nkrumah's land reforms. It has been reversed just because there was nothing consistent in our agricultural policy. It will mean going just beyond individuals trying to invest and trying to bring about certain programs. It will mean it will not really take us there if we don't have serious land reforms, which will really, if I would say, put in, to be part of our constitution, something that will bind all governments, irrespective of their ideology, to consistently follow that policy that has been put down.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A quick one to what he said. Actually, I don't know when you joined, but I mentioned that if we have a policy that binds every political party,
that's right. Yeah.
If we have a direction and then say, look, this policy will cost us so much, so let's go, like Nigerians did not about 5 years ago. I think the guy who led that is now the current president of African Development Bank, who has been re-elected again. Nigeria gave $690 million for agriculture development, which came along with what type of thing they should do, the interest rate, and who should have it. This is a country, once again, is serious. I mean, we know they have their own problem, but it tells you that they are serious on something. At least it's a step. Now, we can do similar thing and then say, look, over the next 30 years, this is what we ought to do. These are the things we are going to do. And that any political, we are all grown-ups and we know what is coming in the future. We know what is happening in Europe. We know what happened between Russia and the Europeans about 10 years ago, also with some supply. We know what is happening now. We know the need of the world now, 7 to 9 billion. We know they're going to need food. So what do we do? What do we have and what we can do? That comes back to the reverse market entry. So knowing what they need, what do we do now? It is not an area you will lose. It is an area you will have to make money. You will make money. In any case, the fundamental is you are ensuring yourself food security. That's the first place.
Yes.
So it's not an area you lose. And then two, I mean, like Ghana now imports tomatoes from Burkina Faso. Not that I'm against it. My father is from Burkina Faso, so I'm not, but do we have to? The oil companies, they claim to have signed what they call local content bill. The local content bill is to buy from what the country or this area produces. These guys have the money. So if they don't get it, are you forcing them to buy from what they don't want? No. They'll still go out and buy because they have the money. Can't we do that? As I talked to you, me as Isha, sorry, when I came in first and I set up this thing, I initiated a program with the World Bank that to set up a big warehouse here, vegetable warehouse, that would have engaged about 3,000 to 5,000 young people so that we stop the waste and then supply to the, look, we have Gabon, we have Nigeria, we have Guinea Equatorial, we have Ghana, we have Cote d'Ivoire, going up, I think Mauritania has now gas, to Senegal. They're all producing something from the sea. And you have these oil companies residing in, if we could sell ourselves that we are producing good organic vegetables, we could supply all the rigs on this West Coast. That was the intention. I prepared a business, I mean, the proposal, it went through with the help of UNICEF. It went through, I followed it up for 5 years, almost on the average of each time, once every month. They finally approved the budget of 3.8 million, asked me where the money is. This government, they've used the money something else that should have gone into the population in this Western region. I posted it at one point, I posted it on my Facebook that what has happened to the 2.8 million that DBOB initiated for the people of Western region. The following day, they invited me. Or what is happening, I told them. And then the following week, I had a visit from Yoko, as if I'm a criminal. So they were looking for a way to indict me.
Yeah.
So if I had not paid my bills, all right. If I had not paid my tax, all right, that alone would have, killed me in the system. Is that the way we want to go? So I'm telling you, we can't do something. If it is agriculture, it should be consistent mechanism to monitor that, a policy that any power. So if I don't know, from again on my Facebook.
Professor, try and run up.
Yeah, I'll tell you something. A nation that wants to grow excludes agriculture from its political ball games or political galamsey. It's on my Facebook. I posted it. So that is the way we have to go. It should be out of politics. Agriculture moving forward in the future should be out of politics.
Great, thank you so much. And your last sentence, describes the whole thing, the passion and the idea and the wisdom that we have has to be implemented. I believe so. So at this point, ladies and we have a lady and gentlemen. We get ready for our second speaker, Dr. Kwame Boakye-Fosu. If he's here, please take the floor.
Dr. Fosu.
Yes, sir. Sorry, I had to take a short break. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good morning here in Florida. And thank you all for organizing this forum.
Sorry, you have 20 minutes for your presentation.
Oh, okay. Okay, mine is going to be short. Asaud has said most of the things, and the previous speaker mentioned the issue that we are facing. And when I was told to, present on this issue, my background is in pharmacy, and my mom, was a farmer, and my uncle who raised me was a farmer in Bogosi, Western area. And I did agricultural science just in O level. But I went back, to do farming some 6 years ago, and my specialty is in a rubber plantation. So looking into the agricultural situation, and just as he's mentioned, with the money that was allocated to his program, all the resources that are pooled were just laudable. I pulled some program on West African Agricultural Productivity Program. This was a program that will identify roots, tubers, livestock, cereal among the commodities that make greatest contribution to the region's agriculture. And then there was this youth in agriculture. It says the introduction program within the agenda of agriculture, Ghana is identified as one of the economic pillars. And it says agriculture is important to the development of the nation. And its development must include youth, and therefore Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Several micro projects all over Ghana, and another program that the previous speaker said, master plan study on the oil palm industry in Ghana. Oil production based on small-scale production was a leading foreign exchange earner for Ghana from about the mid-19th century to the beginning of the 20th century. The then colonial government believed that the indigenous small-scale farming system was more resilient economically than exotic large plantation as a result. Then I put also resources on, it says here, exporting and marketing awareness. The exporting and marketing awareness project is co-financed by Ghana, Government of Ghana, and African Development Bank, with a loan amount of $28.4 million. All these projects, and then there's another project, Roots and Tuber Improvement and Marketing Program. This program is funded by the International Fund for Agricultural Development and the Government of Ghana for a period of 8 years. And as he talked about foreign companies, getting in, there's a research, the study or development by a Japanese company, like he mentioned, and when I pulled it, I said, why is Japan very interested to, come and do a research, in Ghana? It says that the Japan International Center for Agriculture started a study in the developing improved infrastructure and technology for rice production in Africa in 2008, financially aided by the Ministry of Agriculture. So, in looking at all this issue, when I was growing up, and currently, most of the farmers are all using all this old method of farming. When I started with the rubber plantation, I asked them, so how are they not, this French company, Grail, is now in charge, the Western area in Ghana. Why are they not helping with the clearing of the land and, preparing and all this kind of stuff? Everything is on you, the person who wants to do it. So with this issue, we have all this program, but still the World Food Organization says Africa is on, there was about 4-something million people going hungry. They trace Sudan, Burundi, and other areas. So with all this program, why is Ghana or Africa, we still having this issue? And it boils down to what here, they identify. Leadership and continuity of government. With the Grail, the rubber farmers, you are left to clear the land, and then they buy the rubber pulp at a lower rate. And I asked the farmers, my farm is 6 years old, so next year I will start harvesting. Do you get any benefits like pension, any other, they say no. I said, you don't have anything like a CMB scholarship, any scholarship for the farmers or anything? No. And in all these areas, they are using the machete, the cutlass, to do the hoeing, and then the planting, and then to maintain it for 7 years. to maintain it for 7 years, it takes a lot of money. There is hunger. There's hunger. And meanwhile, so when we want the youth to get into any farming, and we don't have any program to assist them, then the youth don't even take interest in farming, because now they consider farming to be something for the uneducated, for the poor. So everybody's aspiring to go to the city. And then the major is infrastructure. You know, we have there's food in the villages, but they can't send it to the big towns. From the main road of in Ayesukum, where my farm is, we have to walk about 3 miles, 2.5 to 3 miles. So this time I'm about to ship tractor and some farm equipment. You know, that will help with the farming. So the issue going on is leadership, and which party is going to maintain its relationship with the farmer. I saw the wonderful job that Nana Addo is doing, the interchange, the motorway. But most of the cocoa producing areas, most of the food producing areas, the roads are bad. With the rainy season, no trucks, no vehicle can go over there. So the food, you know, I went to one farm, oranges, they don't even have the trucks to come and convey it to the city. So our major issue is the leadership. So if there will be a continuity of in a program, regardless of the party in power, then I think we can see results. Because just like he says, his 2.8 million never got to him. This 28 million that was funded by the International Monetary Fund and then the Aquatic Development Bank and Ghana, you ask yourself, where did the money go? Where did the money go? You know, so there's hunger. There's even hunger in the villages. I see some of these farmers, and their diet, poultry, meat, protein is less. You know, so until we can have a system where there will be continuity of program, I think we should just be going around in circles and in circles. So this time when I'm going, I bought simple machines like weed eaters. Simple machines that will help the youth, and then form a cooperative that they can use to help other farmers. And even help themselves. So infrastructure, I talk about infrastructure, and the storage facilities. There was a YouTube issue where I think the Bronhof area or something, and then they had so much plantain harvested, but they couldn't get transport to take it. And by the time it gets to the city, it's all rotten. It's all rotten. So the food, World Health Food Organization says, Africa is at the brink of having a humanitarian disaster. If there's any drought, war, or famine, or anything, we don't have storage facilities for the next couple of months. So when orange, banana, or cassava, we get plentiful, they either stay raw in the farm, by the roadside, or it's bought cheap. So this continued the cycle of poverty for the villages. There was one guy, a cocoa farmer, and that was 3 years ago during the John Mahama's administration. He needed some fertilizer. Instead of the government coming to the farmers, instead of having field agents, extension officers going to where these people are, this guy had to spend 3 days. 3 days. He spent 2 days sleeping at the center in Takwa. You know, they'll form the queue, they give numbers, and they say all of a sudden, they say, no, you come tomorrow. So in the end, they gave him only 6 bags. 6 bags, and he has to transport it back 30 miles. So you know what? When he came, I said, so how did you? He says, I slept there for 2 days, and I had to give bribe. So now I have to sell 4 bags to cover my costs. I have to sell 4 bags to cover my costs. So in effect, he only had 2 fertilizers to use on his farm. In bringing this rubber plantation, if you go to the bonsai, the bonsai type has been closed for years, and all these plantations have been sold. I think Greer is a French company. They bought land, just like the previous presenter said. They've acquired all these lands. And when we checked the value of the produce from 1,000 rubber plants. When you have the pulp, for a year, they pay to the equivalent they pay to the Ghanaian farmers about $740. The same amount on the Singapore Trade Center, the World Singapore Trade Center, is equivalent to $2.4 million. $2.4 million. Yet, these rubber farmers don't have anything except the money they pay them. No insurance for catastrophic anything that happens. No benefit like the CMB or anything for the kids to go to school, and even to sustain them. So all these issues, if we can have a party that will start from grassroots, as we are doing the grassroots, and put all these things into programs where we will report and maintain and supervise it, I think we're going to make a headway, because what Mr. Asu said is very, very laudable. The whole thing is that from the top, it doesn't trickle down. So our issue, once we put all this in policy, then we need to find out who is going to maintain it, who is going to supervise it, and so that there'll be improvement in the rural life of the farmers. Because farming is good, yes, there's money in it. Look at this the rubber alone, just 1,000 trees. All these small farmers, I can count, there will be maybe millions of trees. So this French company is making millions and not invested in the community. I checked what they have done. They built some small market, some small, something that is not even equivalent to the standard of grocery place here. No education school. They should be building schools. So this company is taking millions, billions annually, and we Ghanaians are not getting anything for that. I asked them, why is the Bonsa Tie factory closed down and all this rubber pulp is processed and shipped Europe? In this container that I'm sent to Ghana, I bought some used ties and some new ties that I'm shipping. Why should this happen? So with that, I'll end my presentation.
Great. Thank you so much. You guys have made me sad this morning here. Social responsibility in outright sale of our lands, government interference and all corruption and all that. It's very saddening. I would like to cede my chance of asking questions to somebody else, but I think outright sale of land, Ghanaian land, to a foreigner, I don't believe in that. It should be a lease system. That's right. A lease, not outright sale. And anybody fronting for a foreigner to do that must be in prison. That is my belief. Yes, that's right. So at this point, I don't want to ask a question. Many people are ready to ask a lot of questions here, and so I'll cede my question, my chance of asking question to anybody who wants to raise his hand or her hand.
Yes, I am here, Victor.
Victor, you had a chance the other day. Let's see if somebody, apart from, anyway, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I am.
Sorry, hold on.
Are you asking me to go ahead?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, Mr. Fosu, thanks very much for your presentation. I worked in the Ghana Commercial Bank Takwa branch for about 5-6 years, in the 70s, and it was the rubber plantation was being cultivated by Firestone, if you remember.
Yes.
Firestone was an American company.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss. Why the government did not privatize the land for Ghanaians, but rather sold it to the French company. We are always on the losing end. Yes. Because Bonsaso, and I was there. I visited the Firestone. I visited Firestone manufacturing plant, and it was so good, good. And I was wondering why the government did not actually privatize or nationalize the plantation after Firestone left, and then sold it to the French. We have a leadership problem in Ghana, and not until that is resolved, not until that is addressed, we are always going to be on the losing end. And it's very sad. Yeah, very sad, because we could have made millions and millions out of these lands instead of selling it to the foreigners who come in, and then look at what they're paying the farmers, 740. Yes, they're making 2.something million dollars.
Yeah.
You know, something has got to be done.
Yes. Thank you so much.
There are two hands up there. You have
okay.
Pat, and then you have Kwame.
Okay, Pat, go ahead. Pat?
Yeah, he's muted. Pat,
Yeah,
unmute yourself.
Yeah, sorry, I muted myself now. Yeah, I just want to say something about farmers. You know, I was brought up for a lot of time in Ireland on a farm, and I live in my home is actually in Turkey, in the village, surrounded by farmers. And there is a kind of idea that farmers are stupid or ignorant, and they don't know what they're doing. But actually, my experience is that farmers are very cautious, and for many good reasons. And we look at the history of the mistakes that have been made in trying to impose solutions on them and the disasters that have arisen, you can understand it. And there's so much at stake for them in doing, you know, in making changes, that they are very cautious, and I do understand that. One of the main thing I'd like to say is that one of the problems is that the farmers have got no say in the sector. This is why I asked that question. And I think you're not going to get anywhere until the farmers have got a major role in the governance of agriculture. And the question I wanted to ask any of the speakers here is, do you have a progressive farmers movement in Ghana? And if you do, then what relationship do you have with them? Or if you don't, that seems to me one of the first things that we need to think about. Then there's the question about, you know, about farmers. You know, we don't need an NGO-led farming sector or politician-led sector. We need a farmer-led sector, because they're the people who've got to carry out these things, and they're the people who've got to be convinced. So, for example, one of the big mistakes made in post-colonial Africa was that the leaders that emerged, many of them were socialists, Marxists, and they were influenced by the examples of the Soviet Union and China. And sadly, at that time, those examples were not very good ones on agriculture, not successful ones. It was only later that in China that they were able to make great advances after Mao died. And the thing is that one of the big mistakes they made was for ideological reasons, they imposed countrywide solutions on both agriculture and industry without doing any experimentation. And farmers being very cautious, they want to see in practice the results of new techniques and new methods. And that can be done. And only then, when they see they're successful, that they can bring in extra income, then they'll adopt them. But trying to impose them as a kind of a new fashion or a new idea or an ideological concept across the whole country doesn't work. And in practice, we've seen that. So I think that that's an important thing. Just another quick thing to throw in there is to ask the question, what about changing the orientation of farming in Africa from the dependency on selling to the richer countries and move it more towards selling within Africa and the infrastructure that's needed about that. And also, of course, the whole thing about the wholesale, the way that wholesale and distribution is ripping off the farmers, and the need to develop processing and got the value chain. These are all ideas that I just wanted to throw in there, along with the whole question that somebody also mentioned about wastage, how we can avoid that.
There are three hands that are raised.
Thank you.
Isn't it?
Who was the one with Pat?
There's Kwame, there is Pat, and then there is Nicholas.
Okay,
Kwame. So let's have
Kwame, go ahead. Kwame and then Nicholas.
No, Kwame, Nicholas, and then Mike Rahmania, in that order.
And then Linus after that. And then Linus after that.
Yeah,
Kwame, go ahead.
Lenus, yeah. Please.
Kwame,
and try to keep it brief so that many people can contribute.
Look, mine is not in the form of a question, but mine is just to set, mine is to set the agenda right.
Okay.
When I was in Ghana, both Sanso and all those plantations were under my jurisdiction, so I knew what went on. We should not lose sight of, you see, the World Bank and the IMF conditions that, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
The World Bank and the IMF played some major roles into how those things were sold. because in fact I was responsible and I knew what went on, and my head was nearly cut off. So we should not lose sight of that. Both Sanso and the plantations were sold to the French because the French were very vocal about accessing that part, just like the SSP, which became their property now. So we should not lose sight of that in dealing or taking forward our agricultural policies. That's what I want to clarify, please.
Great, thank you. The next.
Nicholas?
Nicholas?
Yes, I want to make an intervention.
And briefly, please.
Shift the agenda towards the purpose of the town hall meetings about developing a policy program, a policy document for the It's a short contribution based on my experience as team leader for developing a strategic program. Somebody's talking at the background.
Please, may we be quiet, please? Somebody is speaking, so.
Yes, I was saying that I led a team to develop a country strategy for Nigerian agriculture aimed at to use. And there are some things that come out that I think are relevant for PAG going forward. The first important thing is the fact that agriculture in Africa is a tricky business. It's a tricky business because it is dependent on the environment and environmental changes. The challenges are myriad and they are location specific. So we came up with the strategy which was built upon what is called the innovation systems approach, which says that in any one location, there are different stakeholders related to different angles of the value chain that need to be in constant dialogue with the producers themselves to discuss the issues and challenges facing for farmers. So for example, if you have a pest, there may be technology available in universities that are capable of dealing with that. That has to be brought to bear in the context within which the disease arises. The point is that as we go forward into a political party, it is important that we table innovative ideas that contest the notion that all we need is a green revolution, all we need is highly intensive capitalist agriculture, which essentially displaces a number of resource-poor farmers and actually doesn't solve the problem. I think that in discussing these issues, we must be very clear in our mind who are the intended beneficiaries. I think that ultimately is the ordinary people of Ghana. The agriculture is built on smallholder farmers. That's clear. The cocoa is cultivated by smallholder farmers. So I just want to put it, I mean, we could develop the ideas further, a platform in which all the stakeholders regularly dialogue, share ideas to remove bottlenecks, including road infrastructure, in which politics and political leadership will have to be brought to bear. Thank you.
And that's a wonderful contribution, Brother Nicholas.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Mike,
much. Yeah.
Mike?
Okay, thanks, Ian. Well, of course, I am from Guyana, South America, and I have a female colleague who is listening to the conference. I think it's an interesting contributions that were made and the participation. Agriculture, all of us know that the three basic things of life: food, clothing, and shelter. We can't get away from that. And so I am the chairman of the National Farmers Organization in Guyana, which was set up in 1980. We are celebrating the 40th anniversary of this organization, which was inspired by Professor Walter Rodney, who all of you know was murdered by the Burnham regime. I am one of those I'm one of the disciples of Walter Rodney and Pat Byrne, who just spoke. And I'm glad that we're able to use this facility to continue our friendship and work towards a better world. Time is too short for me to go into a lot of things. I want to make some important points here. I think that all what we have said here today is not going to be realizable unless the farmers, the peasants, and the workers of Ghana and Guyana and the rest of the world are part of a political movement, a broad mass-based political movement to take political power and transform the society. It is not going to happen. I've just read a release that you probably know that Mike Pompeo is in visiting our country here, and he's issued a statement saying that the private sector is the only means for development in our countries. So the point is that what they want, what the Americans want, is first to develop a capitalist form or mode of agriculture that benefits the developed world and not benefit us in the underdeveloped world. I think, again, in commerce, we need to continue this type of discussion. We're not beginning the discussion, but there's a lot of things that we can learn and share from each other. And we need to develop this international movement where we can bring in closely some of the people who made contributions, and that we can share what the information that they put out there in writing or in videos or whatever, so we all can learn from that, and we can develop this international movement, because we can't fight imperialism or neo-colonialism. You can call it whatever name you want, unless we are united. We have to have our own international movement where we can stand up and elect governments that can implement policies and programs that are in the interest of the farmers, the producers of food.
Okay. Thanks, Mike. So, Lenos, Anthony, I'm taking over your work, please.
That's okay. What's Lenus? Where is he?
Lenus, yeah. Lenus is always having problems with his.
Yeah.
Lenus?
Okay, I think Dr. Arthur has
Please, there are a
raised
lot
his
of
hand.
open mics. Please, if you are not talking, shut off your mic. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't. Are Linus here? Linus? Okay. Dr. Arthur, you can go ahead with your quick question, please.
Okay. In discussing agriculture, mention has already been made of the need for land policy. We also have to look at labor availability for agriculture. Labor is very expensive for farmers. From where I come from in Ghana, because the young men and women choose to be in the streets looking for quick money rather than be involved in labor work on the farms. So we need to see how to attract labor into agriculture. And talking about labor, someone has already mentioned the use of handheld weeding machines. Many people are resorting to the use of weedicides, chemicals that are resulting in environmental degradation and the loss of certain crops. For instance, because of the use of weedicides, snails, mushrooms are hard to come by in certain areas. And if we are going to keep production of these things, then we need to look at replacing weedicides with, say, handheld machines for weeding, the weed whackers and stuff like that. And we need to also look at agriculture as something that we need to add value to the production of the crops. I'm still amazed at how my sister continues to put fresh corn in water and then she would take this to the corn mill to grind, and then complain that the grinding machine has eaten or taken part of the corn. Whereby here in the US, for instance, when people are fixing banku, kenke, and stuff, they don't take the corn to the corn mill. They go to the shop and buy from the shop floors corn flour. Or if they are doing grits, it's milled corn that is packaged very well. If we look at adding value chain to our crops, we will ensure food security, and we will also avoid the possibility of having these big companies come in with the GMOs and whatever. If you look at cassava, for instance, if we were to add value to the chain of production, we could produce cassava flour, starch, and alcohol, and also feed, animal feed out of that. And if we look at each of these stages of production, together with the raising the crop itself, if crop farming, for instance, employs, say, 100 people, and then making starch will employ another 100 people, and making alcohol out of the cassava will employ another 100 people, and making animal feed will employ another 100. That right away shows you that we can increase employment opportunities by adding value to different stages of the cassava production. And I'm using cassava as an example, but we could do that with other crops. Sweet potato grows very well in northern Ghana, and we haven't seen the need to look at the adding value to the yam. I mean, some people call it yam anyway, the potato production.
So can you run up, please, for me?
Okay, so we need to look at value chain addition for agriculture, so that we increase employment opportunities, ensure food security. And we also need to, as part of attracting labor into agriculture, look at what they call decent work policies to ensure that people going into agriculture are not just producing for 1 year or 2 years, but they will retire, have a retirement benefit from the agriculture activities they engage in. Okay, so
thank you. That will find its way straight into our policy.
And
Thank
before I go, someone had also mentioned that we develop documents from these meetings to make that available for people to read and continue the discussion. If we look at the number of participants in this present meeting, we are not more than 20 people. But if we package the presentation in document form, we could reach several people who could not participate in this. So take the suggestion seriously. Package these presentations not only as video clips, but also as hard paper documentation to be given to our young participants to read, to understand what's going on.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who has any more questions? Who has any?
My
hand is up.
It looks like I may have addressed my audio system now. Is it okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Me?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot for
a quick question.
Eventually, I want to make a short comment, and also which I consider is sort of to draw our attention to the fact that the agriculture in Ghana seems to me has not been given any focus. So there's no real consistent policy by governments. That is why the previous, the keynote speakers, what they have essentially made has exposed the nature of the lack of interest in agriculture. That's why we have the problem that we have now today.
Good.
And one thing I need to do, all I need to do is that I want to just say something about my background. I mean, how I grew up. I mean, when I grew up and I came up to this point, and the kind of agricultural system that exists there. I grew up in the northern region, upper region, Bolgatanga area, from a peasant family. And then in those days, there were, you know, crops and also animals. Right now, the crops sector is under serious threat because of demographic change and also because of climate change. So these two factors have now placed crop production in the the area where I come from, the Upper East region, under serious threat. What we now need to do, in my opinion, is to start to think about an alternative system, because the crop production that is going on there can no longer be sustainable. Then the animal production too is also under threat. When I was a young man, I was a shepherd boy. I was in primary school, middle school at the same time, tending cattle, you know. Nowadays, that doesn't exist anymore because demographic change has encroached upon the land so much that there isn't anywhere for these cattle and goats to graze. But we have poultry. Poultry, again, all this up till this, I mean, in this age, poultry birds are still being, are still vulnerable to Newcastle. So I think that there is a big potential in the area where I come from, you know, in terms of poultry production, because, like I said, crop production is going to, is going to roll face out soon, and then we can no longer have animals, and therefore we should turn our attention to poultry farm. And this, I would think, by on the agriculture extension, if only we can avoid the seasonal epidemic of Newcastle, you know, which still threatens people's livelihood today. If we can address that, and then we increase every household's production in poultry, like guinea fowls and hens in particular. This is what I'm talking about. I mean, we could be quite sustainable. I have a strong feeling that Ghana could be quite sustainable, could be self-sufficient in poultry meat instead of having to bring in day-old chickens or even imported frozen chickens from Belgium and Holland. But because leadership has actually failed to address this issue, we still have the problem that we have. And now, very soon, we are going to be faced with the threat of people losing their livelihood in the upper region area because crop production is no longer sustainable, and then they will have nowhere to turn to. But so we should really, as we go onto a political party, we should really put emphasis on, not emphasis, but make a focused program that would address agriculture. At two levels, at several levels. We should pay attention to crop production, how to improve it, and then increase productivity. Animal production should also be separate because it's all part of agriculture. And then the cash crops, palm oil, rubber, cocoa, and that kind of thing. So unless we have this kind of central coordinated agriculture policy that we can really focus on, if we allow things to just go on, in this haphazard manner, like anyone who thinks like going to farming is fine because I need to make business, it's no longer, it's not going to be sustainable.
Okay,
so
thank you.
Thank you. Very much into focus in our program.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Dr. Asola says he has a question here. Asola? Brother Eugene? Oh.
Thank you. I was struggling to unmute myself. Thank you so
your
much
quick
for giving
question
me
or comment.
Yes. This goes to the speakers, both speakers, whichever would be able to respond. We have heard a lot from you. Now, think about Galamsey, weedicide, plastics, and other uncontrolled human activities like indiscriminate building in waterways. How do these pose a threat to agriculture sector? And I know that you've mentioned mindset, but is there a possibility that we can address these in a different way, or in a way that would promote our agricultural sector to maybe grow better? Because I believe it's a threat, but how much it is, I don't know for the future. Thank you.
Okay, speaker 1 or 2, who can take it up?
I can take it up.
Go ahead, speaker 2.
Yeah,
oh,
thank
sorry,
you for the
speaker 1,
question.
speaker 1, sorry.
Yeah, what is happening is right now is also respect for law, or lack of a policy that really puts emphasis on being enforced. Let me put it this way. So as part of the discussion going on here, like Galamsey, indiscriminate building, and all that has been politicized. And so if somebody is going to build in an extreme way, which eventually when there is rain, there is going to be flooding and all that, the fellow needs to have a political link. And that is it. Galamsey, fellow needs to know the chief and then probably have a link up there. That is it. They will make noise. We're going to stop this. They will take away the bulldozers. And today it moves from here. Tomorrow you see it somewhere else. If there is a if there's a policy, Kwame Nkrumah did it 60 something years ago. Why can't we do it today? Even right now, there are policies in the system. If you go there, I've tried to get some of them where they will tell you where to farm and where not to farm. If it was done 60 years ago, why can't we do it today? Are we telling people that those people who lived before us were more wiser than us? Can't we continue their wisdom? So moving forward, maybe a strong policy that will be enforced irrespective of your political orientation or gender, and that whoever does it, as somebody used the word kill, we either should be killed. We see, to be serious, we have to, if we make a law among ourselves and we apply it, it has nothing to do with God. That's the first place, I believe. So if somebody is doing something that will be detriment to the population, the majority of, and it has to be eliminated, so be it, because he or she knows the law and went purposely to do that. So we have, all I'm trying to say, we should have policy that will be respected and will not be implemented by a political party also. So when it's about agriculture, farming lands, even expansion, all that should be done and should not only be given through, it should be given out through certain criteria, not your political orientation, but based on the criteria set up in the policy. Who deserves that? And what to get that, what should you do? People should respect that for us to move forward. We should respect our own laws.
Thank you. I think I have Fanuel. Fanuel?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity given to me. Mine is not actually a question. We've all agreed the presentation made over here that agriculture is the mainstay of the economy of Ghana. But unfortunately, agriculture science as a subject has been removed from the curriculum, at least from basic school. I remember when I was in school those days, JHS, we used to have agricultural practical lesson where every student was given a bed to do nursery, which gave us the opportunity to learn about agriculture. But unfortunately, agricultural studies or agricultural science has been removed from the curriculum from primary school up to JHS level, and they've integrated it with other sciences where agricultural science has not been taught as it should be. And I think it's going to pose a problem because most of the children that we are raising right now, they wouldn't have any idea about farming, especially those in the cities. So I'm of the view that we should find ways and means and bring agriculture science back into our curriculum, at least at the basic level, which will help us. For instance, currently in Ghana now, instead of our leaders thinking about commercial farming at least district level, they are talking about Okada. I believe when we implement commercial farming at every district in Ghana, it will create a decent employment for the youth rather than legalizing Okada and all those kind of things. So basically, all that I want to say is that we should find a way and bring back agricultural science in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have Gilbert? Gilbert?
Yeah, thank you. Just to add on quickly, really, I know a lot of things have been said on here. I just wanted to add on a bit more. We talk about what the politicians are doing and all the political issues we have with the farmers. I think we need to find a way to empower the farmers as well on the community level so they can do things for themselves, because the power of coming together within communities would also embolden them to look after themselves and to make sure things are done. They will be able to build the market for themselves if they have the right leadership within that community as well. So I think that's one thing we should look at, to encourage them to take responsibility for themselves.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Who again? Oh, Pat. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Victor.
No, Pat. Pat raised his hand.
No, I was just putting a thumb up for that.
Oh, okay.
I think iPhone. Kofi Bedu's hand is up here.
Okay.
And speaker 1, 2.
Okay.
So Kofi Bedu, go first.
Bakuma we has been hand was up.
Yeah, I want to talk about, like, you have been talking of this in the agri sector, but the other issue here is the marketing system. Mm-hmm. At times, the farmers change their minds, like all their produce based on the market they got. If you produce a certain crop which you don't get market, next year you seem to change to different direction. And I believe the year 2019, we have difficulties, especially selling maize within the northern belt of the country. So I think it will be good if you widen the market structure to accommodate the farmers.
Great.
That's all I think.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Kofi Bedu, please.
I get confused when you say Kofi Bedu. Is it Kwesi Bedu or Kofi Bedu?
Kwesi Bedu. iPhone.
Oh. iPhone. Okay. Is it me?
Yeah.
All right. My question is, somebody had touched about that. Okay. About the spread of these residential areas into the farming areas. So now we are faced with convincing people not to spread, because if you travel from one town to another, especially in places like my area in the Kuapem and even in the Agona Central Region area, between Swedru and Agona Safo, it was about 2 to 3 mile stretch of land. Right now, that whole area is covered with housing, which has taken over the crop production of the maize farmers. So, how do we, somebody had touched about that, how do we stop the spread of towns? How do we stop that, by land control? How do we convince people in Ghana, in that area? Because Ghana, everybody is building their own houses. We don't have a a government or land developers, okay, who build housing for people. So people keep building these houses. And I think the law that the earlier speakers have talked about, you know, bringing about laws. So if we can get somebody to just elaborate a little bit on that, I think that is very important to us, you know, building. I know we have a lot of land, but still the spread of land, I mean, towns between Accra and Ekuapem, like this, it's all one city now. You know, you can travel from Accra to Adenta and it's just like it's one town, all that land is filling. Okay, so that's my concern.
Great. Brother Dan, you have a question?
Well, just a comment. I mean, I know one of the issues that have come up is transportation, right? The infrastructure for getting some of these produce out of the farming centers to where, you know, whether the city centers or for export. One thing we've never looked at, we've always talking about roads and, you know, railroads to an extent, right? There should be a barge system, right? Transportation barge, where, you know, if you're on a river somewhere and you produce food or whatever you produce from there, it can be carried, okay, on a barge to another center, then move from there. Because our whole approach has been like roads, railways to a certain extent. But we have these rivers that can be used, okay, to transport these food to, you know, other centers, and then, you know, move, whether value added at those centers or move from there to other places. That's something that I don't think we've looked at enough as, you know, as an alternative or mode of transportation.
Thank you so much, Dan. Who again
I think that Victor Owusu had a young man who was on his laps, and we thought he was coming to speak, but we haven't heard anything.
I think Speaker One wants to speak. So Speaker One, go ahead.
Yes, it was. No, I just want to ask Yen if she can encourage the young people invited from Accra to say a few things about how they find the platform, please.
Okay, I think as the speaker was on the floor when you barged in. So let him finish and then we come back to that.
Yes,
quickly, go ahead.
Somebody mentioned marketing and then also the storage. I wanted to address them quickly, both of them. Just to make an example, when this particular party took power, they came out with excellent idea and said planting for food and jobs, which was super idea. Now what happened? In the first 6 months, they distributed a lot of money, which I think in the volume of about $120 million, distributing seeds. And 6 months thereafter, they said we have abundance of food everywhere. Now you don't hear anything about that. How do you supply seeds when you have not prepared yourself for storage and processing? Mm-hmm. It doesn't make any sense, I'm sorry.
That's right.
So you see, you could have spent the whole 3 years laying down the foundation, roads, infrastructure, and storage and processing. And so even in your last day in office, people will see there is a foundation. Mm-hmm. That's where you even get more vote because they see you've done it. Now, people had seedlings in the seeds and on the first 6 months, and apparently after 6 months thereafter, there was abundance of food. Where are they? Where are they? Mm-hmm. You see, some of these things is just not acceptable, and we cannot, as our level at this age, continue to do things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't simply make sense. And the marketing as well. So all these policies should be in one package, dressing it from all areas, like the last speaker said, I mean, the one who asked, covering all areas. What I want to say in brief is that our agriculture policy should be supreme. What do you call it? Sacrosanct, that we should be focused and we'll be able to solve our issues. In fact, agriculture policy should be supreme, that we should not joke with, and to address all. Otherwise, any political figure will do anything, and none of these people will be asked. Nobody is asking, where did the 20 million go? Where go? Now, all the seeds they gave in the first 6 months, nobody's not talking about how can you distribute seeds when for more production, when you don't have anything to store it. So that was passed in 1 year, it's over. Let's be very honest for ourselves. With the basic human intelligence, you won't do something like that. So we should really speak out and against things that are really nonsense. That is one thing I want to say. I'm not without attacking any particular, but we are intellectual people in a country that we should know that something is not doable, it's not acceptable, and we should be able to speak against it and work out.
Great. Thank you so much, Speaker One.
Can I have a word?
Quickly, please.
Victor, yes.
Fast.
Yeah. Yes. Just by the way, not until Ghanaians start appraising governments on performance, including agriculture, and not flyovers alone, we are always going to be in this condition. We don't appraise governments based on the performance on agriculture, but only on capital infrastructure. We're talking about that now. People don't even mention agriculture when it comes to policies in the manifestos. It's all about what highways and flyovers and what's not. Not until people start using their mandates properly when it comes to elections. Appraise the government over the 4 years on the development of their involvement in agriculture. Then we shall see clear way of how we can progress from here. But we don't do that. We don't use our mandates wisely when it comes to elections. All that we do, we look at what the government has done as per the flyovers and the highways and other things, other edifices. That doesn't matter. The real point I'm trying to make here is not until we appraise governments at the end of the third year or third and a half year on their involvement in agriculture sector. What improvement have they made there? If we can focus our attention on that and vote wisely, we are going to get out of this cauldron or this situation and better this for ourselves. But we don't do that. We're voting on ethnocentric lines and my grandfathers have been voting for the past 100 years. So no, Ghanaians should start appraising governments on their involvement in agriculture instead of the flyovers.
Thank you. Yeah, at this point, I would like to know from those who are here for the first time, your comments about the platform and the topic of discussion and comments and all that. So if we're new here, first time, if you want to pass a comment, 30 seconds each, that would be great. We welcome that.
There are also two hands that are up, Ibn and Bismarck.
Ibn and Bismarck?
Yeah, their hands are up, yeah.
Okay, Ibn?
And Bismarck.
Yes.
Quick, is it a comment?
Bismarck. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Is Bismarck on the floor?
Yes, go ahead, quick, fast.
Yeah.
Quick comment, please.
Thank you very much. I think the issue of agriculture is very key if we really want to transform this country. So agriculture-led transformation is one of the surest ways that, in my opinion, can really ensure that we achieve food security, reduce poverty, and then make lives better for the ordinary person. From the angle I'm coming from, this corner called Northern Ghana, I've had opportunity to see some documents that suggest that the whole of Northern Ghana has about 8 million hectares of farmland, land suitable for agriculture, but just 1/3 of it is cultivated, and others will say 17.5% is cultivated. So the issue, a very good policy on transforming agriculture is key. However, agriculture is, in my opinion, is very vulnerable to climate change. And if you have a policy on agriculture without seeing what other strategies that you can have to be able to respond to the impacts of climate change, you are likely to get into crisis. If you look at the recent floods in the Upper East region of Ghana here, you can see that thousands of people who really made significant investments in agriculture, particularly smallholder farmers, they've had everything consumed or lost to the floods. People's cattle, sheep, goats, and everything has been consumed. So the issues of
climate change that produce flooding, produce drought, high temperature, any policy on agricultural transformation should also think about what we need to do to be able to adapt or mitigate the impact of climate change. The other concern that I have, or one I think can be a response, is building irrigational infrastructure. Fortunately, this government seems to have talked about it. Regrettably, the way it is constructed is not really serving the purpose. So I think in our policy on agriculture, we should find a space in the policy to see how we can build solid or strong irrigational infrastructure so that if there is this flooding, we'll be able to harvest, store the water, and be able to use it productively in terms of drought so that we can continue all year round farming to be able to produce enough for the country.
Thank you.
The other issue that is likely to also get threatened is from this part of the country, you now see that almost every part, if you go to a northern region, many areas, mineral deposits have now been discovered. You go to the upper west, you come to upper east. So, and they're giving them out to multinationals for mining. And that is going to be a competition between agriculture and mining. And we all know that mining over the years has really not benefited the Ghanaian the way it should have benefited. So if we lose all these agricultural lands to mining, it will also affect other livelihoods because most of our shea tree, our dawa trees are found on these lands. And if these multinationals come to take it and then cut all these trees down, it's going to affect a lot of livelihoods, particularly those of our women who are into shea butter. So our policy should look at all these when we are trying to have a nice agricultural policy.
I think Bismarck, you should be our next presenter next time. It's a fantastic idea. Yeah, great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Who was the other guy?
Swala. Quick
one. Just a minute, please.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Speak. Comrade.
Yeah, go ahead. Speak.
Yes. I have two quick suggestions. One of them has been the challenge for agriculture here, especially for the youth. It's land acquisition. The first most expensive cost for farming here, for example, in our Franklin, is plowing, which is 150 cedis per acre. The second cost is land acquisition, which is between 60 to 100 cedis per acre, followed by weedicide. Others like planting and harvesting, the youth can do themselves. Are you with me?
Yes.
So I think if government can consider giving some compensation to the landowners, if it's about 20% of it in bulk, they would accept. My second suggestion is about animal production, cattle production. Hello, are you with me?
Yes, go ahead.
It's about animal.
Make it quick.
Cattle
Make it quick. 30 seconds. 30 seconds more.
Yeah.
Farmers do have a problem with the crop producers.
Okay, where do I do that?
The simplistic approach here is to bring soldiers to drive away the cattle producers. Meanwhile, we need a meeting. So I think we have to find out how the best practice is. Make sure we are also able to produce cattle and also process the meat. We don't only have to be importing meat from other countries as we do, but we can also produce them here. That is my suggestion.
Great, thank you so much. At this point, I would like to say that we do this every 2 weeks. And so if you want to be invited, please make sure you get in contact with us and we can send you the links. At this point, I think I'll let our chairman come in to give us the parting words. We've exhausted 2 hours, and yeah, if Chairman Thad can give us the last parting words, that would be great.
Okay. Sure. Thanks to everyone for making this fourth public forum a success. I think that we are gradually beginning to define problems, and out of the definition of these problems, we are also beginning to shape solutions, which, as has come up a few times, we are going to develop into policy papers for our party as we plan for the years ahead. As Comrade Yen said at the beginning, we are not about the upcoming election, we are about the future of the country. And we are going to put our best brains together and come out with policies. But also important is we have to begin to look at, I think one of the things that has come to me from both presenters is that implementation of policies is an area where there is great difficulty, implementation and then evaluation. So we'll have to put our minds to these things and find innovative ways in which we can succeed where others have failed in the past. Okay, so thank you all. We have gone 30 minutes beyond our time, and thank you all for joining us, and we'll keep you posted on our next public forum. These are recorded, and we are planning to put them on YouTube to make them available to others who have not been able to attend. Thank you very much. I'll ask Comrade Yen and Dr. Roberts to stay on for a brief discussion about some other matters. So otherwise, everyone is free to go. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, comrades. Excellent meeting. Brilliant.
Bye.
I've really enjoyed
Bye,
it.
everyone. Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
The next 2 weeks, please, all of you try. We'll send you the publicity, but try and come, you know.
What's the subject, Yen? What's the subject?
The subject next, Kofi, what's the subject again? Housing? Kofi? Kofi?
Education. You might be mute.
Education, yeah.
Education.
Very important, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard, Pat?
Yeah.
I heard, yeah. Thanks,
yeah, education, yeah. So to all of you, thank you very much for coming. Yeah.
Welcome, man. Bye.
Okay.
The ladies didn't speak at all. So.
No.
Lillian is there. She didn't say anything.
Am I supposed to go to or stay?
You can stay.
You can stay if you wish, Chrissy. You can stay.
And the third force movement person can stay.
Nalu is here.
Eh? Third force movement. Yeah. So we can. Yeah.
There are a few people who need to get off that are not off yet.
Third force.
Swala.
Yeah.
Bakam Mawia and Ibn Swala, you can get off. Okay.
Who's Nalu? Who's Nalu?
Yeah,
okay, that's good.
Still on. Nalu.
Nick Atampogre, Ibn Swala.
Atams is to stay. Yeah,
okay.
Atams
can
stay on.
Yeah, I see Atan, yeah.
Lillian can get off, please.
Yeah, she is.
Ibn Swala?
Ibn Swala.
Who's Bakan Mawia?
Bakan Mawia, yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Bakan Mawia.
I said I'm from Upper West region there.
Yeah, but you can get off. We have your details, don't we?
Last week I was here.
Oh, okay. So we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you can always contact us individually, Kofi and any of us. Yeah.
And then also tell your friends. Tell your friends
to join. Yeah.
Spread the news.
Okay. So bye. Yeah, for now.
Bye.
Okay, I think we are ready to go now. Everybody else can stay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey.
It shows that he's still on there.
Yeah, he should be gone.
Bakan Wami from Upper West, please, you can go off. Can you put him off, Kofi?
That's what I'm trying to do, yeah. It's not going.
Not going. Maybe he doesn't even know his.
Yeah, but we have to get him off.
If he's listening, he should go off, sign out.
Please, Upper West, can you sign off, please?
Okay.
He's sign off, yeah. Okay.
Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone, yeah.
Okay.
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 Okay. So how do we start this? Yeah. This has been called by briefly the social justice movement because of some incident that has happened with regards to the registration. And we think that it is important that when issues crop up, we have to be, it's a lot of sacrifice we are all doing, and when these issues crop up, they should be discussed and handled quickly so that we can move forward. It's in connection with the recent registration. So at times, will you you raised it and I did a report, yeah.
Yes, very quickly, the specific issue is about serum. And I'd got a report that hints that there were problems. So I then asked Yen to contact CNNA directly so that I can get an understanding of what the problems were. I had to do that because the social justice movement is very, very clear in its mind that certain issues must not be compromised at this early stage of formation. And when they rear their heads, they have to be addressed. That under no circumstance must we try and fudge the issues, yeah, but we must try and understand them with a view to resolving them.
Okay.
Now, the report at the end gave back to me was very disturbing. And I thought that, okay, it was important for us to discuss it because it was symptomatic of a larger issue which we needed to discuss.
Yeah, I'm the one that was dealing with serum at times. So I did tell Yen sort of what had transpired. Essentially, they were doing the signature program in the Volta region. And I advanced them 5,000 CDs to get started. And then after they finished Volta, they said they needed more money to finish it. And I said, that's fine. Tell me how much you need based on how much you spent before. And I gave them that amount. I believe it was maybe another 3,000 CDs. But at the end of it, I asked Serum to now give me an accounting of how the money had been spent. So that actually I wanted to be sure that, at the end of it all, if there was money left over, I could give them, some kind of reward for their time and energy. And then the accounting wasn't forthcoming, that he kept asking me about, needing to be compensated for the time. And I said, yes, but I need to know how the money has been spent. So essentially, he was assisted by another person. And I asked him for the other person's phone number, mobile number, because I was going to come up with a formula and send that person some money as well as him. Then he said to me, he had already paid that person 1,300 CDs from the account. And I said to him, why are you telling me this now? Because I've been asking you for an accounting. And if you had given me a proper accounting, which was transparent, which was even if you have paid somebody, that's fine with me. I just need to know what the money has been spent for, then we'll decide. So it made me worried that, he was not being transparent. And that's really that's really the core of the problem. I think the money is an issue, but I think the principle, the behavior, the conduct is really what is at issue. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where it is. And I understand that after some, Fanuel or someone else on the ground maybe had more to add to the context, which Yen got, which is why Yen and I began to speak. So Yen, I think you have maybe more to add to that.
Well, I think that if Yen has anything to add, probably unless he has talked to Fanuel directly.
No,
Yen,
I haven't. No.
No, it's from me. Okay.
Okay.
I've asked Seram. I had to meet him yesterday. I've asked him to send the accounts. He told me he was unaware he had gone there on the base as a representative of social justice movement, which surprised me. Yeah. And therefore, it left me on a weak wicket because I had thought that he was not going there as an individual, but as a representative.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but it reminded me of the fact that when he was going, I was not even aware of it. Yeah, and I said to Yen, CNNA is part of the PAG. Social justice movement is part of the alliance. The alliance is made of independent organizations. Yeah, we all aim to grow as independent building blocks of the constituent elements of the PAG. We've set up processes by which we want to grow the movement. So for each one of those that have joined, there's a rigorous interview process. And we have a sense of where everybody's coming from and a sense of judgment of the sort of people that we're dealing with. Yeah. So for example, in the case of the North, Yen handles the North, I handle the Southern sector. And all those who are registered as members, I've interviewed all of them. Yeah. So I was a bit surprised that he had gone on a trip to Oti region and I was not aware of it. So I mentioned to Yen that, well, next time around, it will be appropriate that, okay, this information is passed on to me in Accra so that at least I have an understanding of what is the arrangement and agreements that have been reached.
Yes, yes, okay.
Yeah,
but yeah, so, but Yen was aware of it because we discussed this in our meetings as we were assigning people to the regions, and Seram had been asked and he said he would be able to do it because the 3FM who were originally going to help us with it seemed not to be able to do so. But I mean, it was openly discussed in our meeting.
Yes, Yen did say so. Yen did say that you had discussed. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that you had discussed it. Yeah.
Yes.
Because if I was aware, I would not have assigned him to that role. Yeah. But anyway, that is history now. Yeah.
Yes.
The point being that you see, as we relate, it may look bureaucratic, but it's important to a bit more formal because.
Oh yes, we have to be. I agree. Yeah.
because I have now that I'm hearing what was the agreement with him, yeah, what monies were transferred, etc. I talked to Fanuel. I said, what was the agreement, etc., etc., etc. What was the terms of your engagement? Yeah, he said I was given X amount to go on this assignment. I'm saying that, well, it's important for us to discuss these things because for me, when people demonstrate certain behavior patterns and you don't take notice at early stage, they become institutionalized practices within the organization.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And we are all in agreement.
And I have come from a very far, and I've told you and I've told everybody that, look, I'm no longer going to turn a blind eye to certain inadequacies. Just and it doesn't matter. It matters.
No, it matters.
Because some of the same people that are now in top political positions and are behaving the way they are behaving, we were together, we knew some of their weaknesses. We said we did nothing.
Yeah.
So we cannot allow, especially the younger generation that we are trying to mentor and promote, we cannot allow the culture that predominates in the political space in Ghana here, where everybody is in for the take.
Well, this is what we struggle with it every day because when you encounter people and you are working with them on the basis of reaching an ideal or completing an assignment, they always have another agenda. I mean, we are dealing with some of our own people as well on the same basis. So it's not unique. I mean, I agree with you. Yeah.
Yes, but when people come across as Nkrumahs, as genuinely committed cadres, when we sit down and we talk and emphasize the importance of integrity, when I tell people that, look, if you have difficulties and I'm in a position to help you, I will help you. But under no
That's a different thing. Yeah.
Must you demonstrate a behavior that suggests that, hey, you are no different from the political actors that are out there.
That's right.
You have no use then. You have no use then. We understand life is difficult, the job is hard, you're unemployed, all of that. Yeah. So we keep on pointing out to them that, look, yes, circumstances have changed. When we were in the struggle, we didn't even have anything.
We used to walk.
Yeah.
Yes. And we point out to them that there are many churches that are built with people who don't have anything.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that I've asked Seram to account. He said he was going to call you. I don't know if he has called you.
Well, I mean, I don't know what he needs to call me for. I've also asked him to account. So there's nothing to discuss. He just has to produce the accounts.
He just has to produce the accounts.
That's right, because I have already asked him to produce the accounts. And it was during that process that I realized that there was an expense that he was claiming, which he had not even made aware to me as we were talking. And that's what got me concerned, that why will you give me what he sent to me? I told him, what you sent to me was essentially the budget. You know, because we have to use a budget. We use a budget based on our experiences in other regions to estimate the cost of the exercise. So I said, what we gave to you is the budget, and the budget will never balance 0.00. You either spent less than what was budgeted, or for some reason you have to spend more. But you have to give me an account. If you spend more and I agree, then the organization will reimburse you. If you spend less, you have to return the money to chest. It's that simple. But it cannot be 0.00.
Okay, let's try and move forward. We are determined to take it seriously.
Yeah.
He says he did not go there as a representative of SJM. What I suggest is that you insist on the.
But that's what he said. He said he did not go there as a representative of SJM.
No. I mean, clearly he went there as a representative of SJM because we only know him as a representative of SJM. And since
because
SJM,
of the meetings, we were looking for people.
Yeah,
we were looking for people during the discussions. There were people who disappointed us, and I'm sure he I remember precisely recommending some people.
Yes.
You know, but I think he came on one of the meetings and picked up, you know, but I didn't relay the information back to Accra anyway.
Yes.
You know,
no, but
so now he's arguing that he didn't know that he was representing SJM.
He went on an official assignment because the only reason I know him is as a result of the fact that he's in SJM. He's not my friend. I don't know him anyway. It was on the basis of the fact that we are cooperating with SJM. He's a member of SJM. I asked him his knowledge of Volta region because the Plan A had collapsed. And we said we will give him someone to help him. All of this is, I mean, he was not engaged as an independent contractor. We have no contract with him as an individual. No.
Okay, that's fine. I mean, I think that you contact him and insist on your accounts. Yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
And give me a deadline to give those accounts. If he fails, SJM will have to act.
I think you will, because he was operating as a member of a partner organization to achieve a shared goal that our organizations have. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Well.
Okay, but my question is, what was the result of his of his work? Did he submit anything to us?
He has submitted the work. He has got the signatures, the forms. The work has been done. That is not the issue. The work was done.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
The cost of achieving the work is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
It's not even the cost of achieving the work that is the problem. But the major problem is the fact that he claimed he paid somebody money. And eventually decided not to give the money until he was confronted and he paid the money. And that is also the main key. It's about the fraudulent nature of it.
Yes,
that is what we are worried about.
Yes. And we have, everybody is submitting their accounts from all the regions. This is not unique. I mean, that's what we are doing. Central region, Western region, everybody is submitting their accounts. you know, based on the budgets that we set up for the program. So I think that, you know, when he told me he had paid the other gentleman, of course I took it at face value, and I said, fine, send me the accounts and let the accounts reflect that you have paid the other gentleman this amount, which I thought was even large, 1,300, you know, for the work. None of the other regions cost us that much, okay? But and I said, you bring the accounts, then I will evaluate all of this. And so he told me he had paid the person, but clearly he had not. This is what Yen, you also found out, right? He told me he had paid the individual already, but we found out that he had not paid the individual. So that's the behavior that we're all concerned about.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was getting to. Is he somebody? I mean, what are the negatives of him being? He's not part of you know, an outsider group. He's part of SJM.
He's an SJM member. That's how I met him. I met him.
So that makes him part of PAG.
He makes him part of PAG.
Right.
Yeah.
Who disciplines him?
Even if he wasn't part of SJM, he shouldn't have played that role, because the PAG has its policy principles.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously he has to account to us.
I raised this issue because I take it seriously.
Yes.
And as far as I'm concerned, we don't need to belabor this point. SJM has its processes. Yeah. Some of them are not clearly formalized, which we need to formalize. But this is an opportunity to formalize some of these things.
Yeah.
But I did not take this lightly at all. And
yes.
I had to meet him yesterday because I thought it was important for me to confront him.
Yeah, thank you for doing so, though. Yes, absolutely.
And
you met him with the chair, isn't it? You and the
yes,
chair.
I met him with the interim chair. So let's not drag this too much. Let's give a deadline for you to remind him to render the accounts. Yeah,
I'll do that.
Yeah, I will make a report to the chair. Yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, this is a no-go area for me.
Yeah. I really appreciate the way we have approached it, really, because I think even in discussions with the chairman and with other members of the board, I think this is very important that we start off on the right foot.
Yes.
And like Brother Nicholas just said, if we allow one or two individuals to get away with such practices, before you know it, it's become a pattern, it's become, you know, a routine way of doing business. And we cannot tolerate that, because that's really part of our purpose for being in existence, is to come out and check against these kinds of cancerous behavior within the system. So I'm very happy that at least, you know, we are taking this seriously. I remember at the very beginning, when we started this whole process and we started applying for the registration as a party, I sent them out, Adote and Fanuel, and I think somebody else, Macaire. And I gave money out of my own pocket the very first time, out of my own pocket to them. And I made it so that they will have money to spend on like a per diem basis, you know, for a nice meal. I was thinking that it was just going to be a one trip assignment. But when I realized that it was going to be more trips involved, I had to start taking the money out of the organization's account, you know, and that by the end we finished, it had amounted to quite a substantial amount. I think if my memory serves me, perhaps around 250 altogether, just to be going back and forth, because I had set that pattern. So I think it's very, very important that, you know, we set things right. In my discussions with people like Adote and Fanuel and other guys on the ground, I have made it known to them that right now we are in a crunch. We don't have money to spend. Everything has to come from the heart and not for, you know, material consideration. When we get to that stage, you know, we'll give a due compensation, or we'll give compensation where it's due. But, you know, I think it's very important that we treat this with consideration, but with the necessary firmness that it requires.
Well, yeah, and I think that
if I
the
can
whole
add,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we need to also be cognizant of the fact that this is currently, right, not an SJM issue or a CNNA issue, but a PAG issue.
A PAG issue,
yes.
So when we're addressing these things, we should be addressing them on the platform of a PAG thing, because after all, we're separate individual groups coming together to form the alliance, but the alliance is what's moving forward. So I think we should treat this as PAG.
I beg to differ. It's a PAG issue, but the actor involved is an SJM member.
That's true.
And we have to take as leadership responsibility for addressing our problems internally. That
is true.
Yeah, if an issue arises with CNA member, there's not much I can say. It's left with CNA to deal with.
I understand the distinction. But if he had gone out, to collect the signatures for SJM, then I'd agree that it was an SJM issue. He went out to collect the signatures as a PAG for PAG. So to me, it's a PAG issue.
That does not absolve him from.
I'm not talking about absolution. No, I'm not talking about absolution.
I think the real issue is that there are a number of issues. One, we are all working together for something, and maybe what this brings up is that I think we have in our constitution some clear actions, for people who steal money or whatever, within PAG. We have it in our constitution. But I think that what we need to do is to find a way to harmonize some of these disciplinary practices. Yeah. Our management practices, since we'll be working together, so that there's some harmony between how we deal with such issues, or on whichever side they occur. I think that's really what we should be working towards. This is a case that has brought it to the fore. But in terms of management, we have to have some harmonization, some clarity between ourselves, some agreement about how we deal with these issues together, because we are working together as an alliance. I think that's the main thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I've got to go shortly somewhere. All I can say is that we will follow up this issue a bit later. Maybe to Yen, maybe in future going forward, let the information flows come a bit more holistically, so that somebody like me who is dealing firsthand with many of these young people, I'm better informed on the terms and conditions in which they went and what they expected to deliver.
Yes, I mean, Yen was in the meeting, so I understood that, you guys, would through your own information know that. But I mean, that was the reason why we engaged him. I mean, I think we brought it up at the meeting. It's a SJM guy. We thought, well, he knows the place. Our plan had fallen through, and we fell on him. I mean, the work was done, but I think that there are these ethical issues that we have to confront.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we don't use him going forward. We don't use him going forward.
Well, but no, that's not just not using him. I mean, I've always been one of the people that I always have a problem with when people steal money. They said, "Oh, the guy is going to refund it." That's not a solution. People always have to face a real penalty beyond that. Yeah. So I think we just have to figure out the best way. It may be a learning process for him, or it may be the end of the line for him. I don't know.
Yeah, and then we also have to look at it from a systemic standpoint. I think I've mentioned it to Chairman Brother Olsen when we spoke about this a few days ago, that incidentally, when we were discussing that, I had just finished discussing the similar issue with another person on the ground who was also having exactly the same problem. You know, I was talking about how almost all the people around were looking for ways to, cut a little bit more than they were due here and there. And then they were saying that, look, this is their cocoa season. Many of them have finished college or finished school, unemployed. And so when they see a situation like this, they see it as an opportunity for them to, and then when they see the people up there, the higher people that they look up to, doing much worse, stealing billions. Yeah, they don't have any feeling, any reservation.
They rationalize their behavior.
To do anything different. Yeah. So we also have to look at it from that standpoint. But that doesn't mean that we have to allow them, free range.
No.
I have a question here. Has he admitted that he did a bad thing?
Oh, no. I mean, my communication with him simply has been to ask for his accounting. That's all.
He's not what.
Did he agree he did a bad thing?
No, first he was rattled. He was unaware that I was going to confront him with this issue. He talked about how the work was very difficult, etc. He talked about how he was unaware that he was going as representative of SJMG. He didn't think that the money that he was paid was exorbitant. He was defensive.
Yes, of course, he would have to be. Yeah.
And for me, I got very angry, to be honest. I got very angry, and I said, look, as far as I'm concerned, let me raise this with you. Let's talk about it, but we have to take action. So let him.
Yeah, let's proceed. I'll make a request. I'll give him a deadline, and then we'll proceed from there. Okay.
Let me throw this in here. Definitely he has to face the consequences. Number two, have we collected the signatures already?
Yes, we have the signatures. He has sent the forms in. Adute should have the forms, and he has sent me.
All right.
Yeah, he has done the work. He has sent me an Excel file of all the data as I've requested.
Okay.
Yes.
And
so the financial accounting was just
Mm-hmm.
another arm of the accounting for the work, accounting for the money.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
We also have to be careful about what he may go back and tell.
That's right. That is why I'm asking that question. That is why I'm asking that question.
Exactly.
If he hasn't completed, if we haven't collected the signatures with the booklet, then we have to wait and until we collect all the signatures and everything is okay.
Sure.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to find a way.
I've asked him to
submit. Before we even take any drastic action, we have to find a way in which we are sure that the other people have contacts with the signatories, because we may need to go back to them.
Yeah.
Well, I've asked him to submit the. I have to check with Adute if he has submitted the forms to him, but he should have done that last week when he was sending me the forms. So we can check. Okay. Let's verify. Right. I'll verify that. Okay, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I've got to go.
Okay.
A meeting today, this afternoon?
Yes, we do. At our
regular we have this evening, isn't it?
Yes.
London, 11 o'clock, isn't it?
Yes, that's right.
So see
do
you.
I have the Zoom number? Have you sent it, Kofi?
Yes, it's there. Yeah, we all have it. Yeah.
We all have it. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.